Thank you, Jean. To our guest of honor and speaker, to all the dignitaries on the floor who were earlier acknowledged, my colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. What is right should be kept right. What is wrong should be set right. This is a personal credo of our guest of honor and speaker, which he has faithfully observed for over more than 40 years in his public service as a law enforcer, as a legislator, and recently as the rehabilitation CSAR, and on his day-to-day personal life. His rise to national consciousness and prominence started during his helm as Chief PNP, in which the Philippine National Police obtained one of the highest approval ratings in the country set record so far. He brought back or restored back the glorious days of PNP. In his stint as PNP chief, it also sparked a grueling but worthwhile uphill climb for this gentleman from the city of Imus, Cavite, where we had a similarity, including our President Ador. And also, he's a graduate of the Philippine Military Academy belonging to Class Matatag of 1971. He is known to be a strong advocate against graft and corruption. In order to strengthen his crusade, he actually did not avail of the PDAF or pork barrel funds, which is amounting to 200 million annually during his successive terms as the Senator of the Philippines. In the Senate, he handled different committees. Committee on National Defense, Committee on Civil Service and Government Reorganization, Committee on Ethics, and Committee on Accounts. His legislative record is full packed with many enactments, either as an author or a sponsor of different Republic Acts. I would like to mention a few, just a few because ang dami. Republic Act number 9485, or the Anti-Red Tape Act, Republic Act number 10167, or the Act Strengthening the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Republic Act number 10351, or the Act which restructured the excise tax on tobacco and alcohol, the Philippine Dental Act, and the Philippine Anti-Cheating Act, among others. In the late 2013, during the aftermath of the Super Typhoon Yolanda, which created so much damage, especially in the central Philippines, he was appointed by our President Benigno Aquino III as Presidential Assistant for Rehabilitation and Recovery Program with the mandate to unify all efforts of the government and all sectors. Under his helm, he was able to craft a comprehensive rehabilitation and recovery program, which now is being used as a strategic vision and implementing programs of all Yolanda-affected calamity areas. His efforts in Yolanda led to the institutionalization of the essential mechanisms of all other calamity-stricken areas in the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I am deeply honored to introduce to you our guest of honor and speaker, Honorable Panfilo Ping Lacson.
Maraming salamat, Attorney Doris, for that very kind introduction. Memoriado. I have a 20 to 21 minute keynote speech, and I sincerely hope you won't get bored, but be informed by it. Let me begin by sharing a short story that I read in Facebook about the history of accounting. In the beginning, God created the sun, the moon, the stars, and everything else around us. He saw that all things are bright and beautiful, so he declared the seventh day as a day of rest. But then someone named Luca Pacioli fathered and created accounting. And from then on, accountants have never rested. Honorable Joel Tan Torres, the chairman of the Board of Accountancy, Attorney Sam Padilla, President Dominador Barrion, of course, a longtime friend, former Deputy Commissioner of the BIR, Lita Aguirre. Good to see you again, Lita. Sa mga masisipag na mga accountants na miyembro ng Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants na ginagawang araw ang gabi, ginagawang regular day or working day ang mga holidays, at huling nagbabakasyon tuwing Christmas break, isang pinagpalang umaga sa inyong lahat. It is an honor to join you in your celebration of this year's Accountancy Week. In an increasingly competitive and complex society, I could not agree more that the traditional role of public accountants has been redefined in so many ways. From financial data collection, analysis, and reporting, your role now extends beyond the bounds of your balance sheets and ledgers. You now play a critical role, not only as stewards, but more urgently as watchdogs of our economic assets and fiscal welfare in order to propel our economic growth and development. It is therefore safely assumed that you have a deep sense of social responsibility, fueled by your morals, integrity, and love for our country. For this, I am with you as you traverse the path in sharing your stories and lessons of your success beyond borders. As a public servant, like some, if not most of you, I also have my aspirations, my dream and vision for our dearly beloved country. Ito ay ang makitang ang bawat Pilipino ay namumuhay ng mapayapa, masagana at may dangal. Every citizen must have equal opportunity to pursue a prosperous life. Government must provide a level playing field. Those who have less must have more from government. Ang simple or sa simple at madaling pananalita, patas dapat. Ngunit paano nga ba natin makakamit ang ating inaasam na patas na oportunidad at patas na pagkakataon para sa lahat? Tuwing tinatanong ako sa mga interviews, ang una ko palaging sinasagot ay ito: pagsugpo sa korupsyon at pagsasamantala ng mga nasa posisyon ng kapangyarihan sa kabambayan na galing sa buwis na ating pinagtuguran. In all my public service career, from my law enforcement days to my 12 years as a senator, even during my 14-month stint as presidential assistant for rehabilitation and recovery, I have consistently fought and crusaded against all forms of corruption in government. But recently, I have defined this lonely crusade as an advocacy to reflect its applicability in our daily lives. Fighting corruption is about restoring fair play for all. Fighting corruption is fighting for social justice. Sapagkat dahil sa walang habas at tila hindi matapos-tapos na katiwalian, nawala na ng saysay ang patas na oportunidad na dapat ay karapatan ng bawat Pilipino, lalo na sa mga kapuspalad na nasa malalayo at liblib na lugar. We fight for social justice because this is what the institutions of democracy are all about and what democratic leaders are elected for in pursuit of their sworn ideals of public service. In our present time, we have grown used to stories of leaders who claim to be champions of public service and goodwill, but are ironically the same leaders who know in their heart of hearts that they do not practice what they preach. Some, in fact, are facing gut-wrenching graft and corruption accusations. Mula sa porsyento o kickback sa mga proyekto ng gobyerno hanggang sa kasuklam-suklam na pork barrel scam, hindi natin maikakaila na ang korupsyon ang sakit na unti-unting sumasakal sa ating ekonomiya at sa ating bayan. Whatever happened to the ideals of social justice promised to our people as far back as the days of President Manuel Quezon? Whatever happened to the magsaysay dictum that those who have less in life must have more in law? Ang aking krusada upang sugpuin ang katiwalian ay siya ring nagtulak sa akin upang pagtuunan ng pansin ang ating taunang pambansang budget. Sa 12 taon ko bilang senador, kasama ko ang aking mga staff na nag-aral at bumusisi sa budget ng gobyerno. Lahat ito ay hindi para sa personal na interes, sapagkat sa 2 termino ko sa Senado ay hindi ko tinanggap o ginamit ang 200 milyong pisong taunang pork barrel allocation, lalo na ang mga limpak-limpak pang insertions at realignments na siyang binabantayan tuwing may budget deliberations ng mga ilang garapal na mambabatas. For 12 straight years, from June 30, 2001 to June 30, 2013, I studied, consulted, participated, interpolated, debated, from the committee hearings all the way to the Senate floor, even volunteered my membership in the Senate Bicameral Conference Committee, sometimes referred to as the third and most powerful chamber of Congress. I seriously believe then and now that the national budget is the most potent tool to drive the country's economy to spur growth and development, provide equal opportunity to the national and local government units in a sharing scheme that will guarantee inclusive growth that will benefit the Filipino people. The national budget is the lifeblood of the country's economy, if not the country itself. Hence, it must circulate and freely flow. To make this happen, however, the budget, from preparation to execution, from accounting to auditing, must be participatory, consultative, development-oriented, and all-inclusive. One that equalizes opportunities to all, and should not be intended for patronage. Few months ago, I have started an information drive about my personal advocacy on the equitable distribution of the national budget to local government units, aimed at creating more development opportunities, thus improving the delivery of basic services, especially in the far-flung communities. Gawin nating halimbawa ang isang tipikal na Victor de la Cruz upang maglarawan at kumatawan sa ordinaryong Pilipino. Si Victor de la Cruz ay nangangarap na makamit ang kanyang mga pangunahing pangangailangan sa kanyang barangay tulad ng water supply, livelihood programs, farm-to-market roads, multipurpose hall, barangay bridge, a school building, and probably a basketball court. Ngunit nang iparating ni Victor ang kanyang mga adhikain sa kapitan ng kanilang barangay, sa kanilang punong bayan, gobernador, hanggang sa kongresista sa kanilang distrito, at pati na rin sa kanilang minamahal na senador, natuklasan ni Victor na hindi pala sapat ang kanilang pondo upang matugunan ang lahat ng kanyang minimithing proyekto. Subalit, matapos ang aming matagal at masusing pag-aaral, natuklasan namin na hindi pala kailangang mangamba ni Victor de la Cruz sapagkat ang kasagutan sa kanyang mga pangarap ay matatagpuan lamang sa ating national budget na nakapaloob sa General Appropriations Act or GAA. Gamitin nating halimbawa ang naging budget ng bansa noong taong 2013. Ayon sa Republic Act 10352 or the 2013 GAA, ang kabuuan ng ating budget ng taong iyon ay 2 trilyong piso. Ito ay nakalaan para sa A. Regular budget of national government agencies, B. Special purpose funds, and C. Automatic appropriations. By the way, ang 2014 national budget ay may kabuuang halagang 2.2 trillion, habang ang kasalukuyang national budget ngayong taong 2015 ay 2.0606 trillion. Ang napipintong 2016 proposed budget ay isang tumataginting na 3 trilyong piso. After years of careful and thorough analysis, we have observed that if the national government would, at the very least, adhere to the guidelines set by the Commission on Audit, that the expenditures should not be A, irregular, extravagant, or B, unnecessary, C, extravagant, D, excessive, and E, unconscionable. Easily, there can be at least 500 billion pesos composed of very rational deductions from the national budget or the regular budget, special purpose funds, and automatic appropriations, which can be allocated to the local government units all over the country. With the assumption that the 500 billion pesos will be distributed equitably to fund development projects, programs, and activities, we can provide every year on top of 20% of the local government's revenue share through the Internal Revenue Allotment or IRA, approximately 81 billion pesos or 1 billion each to our 81 provinces, 149 billion pesos or 100 million to each of the 1,490 municipalities, 43 billion or 300 million each to the 144 cities, and 5 million each to the 42,026 barangays for a total of 210 billion pesos. This would, of course, depend on the modality of distribution and implementation of local development projects every year. Just imagine if this 500 billion pesos is translated into projects like livelihood activities, infrastructure improvement, and industry enterprise development. This could mean more job opportunities which direct to higher income of Filipino families. Subsequently, such would result in firmer domestic demands, efficient production, and a more stable consumption of goods and services. Through this manner, we can be certain that our growth as a nation is commensurate to the progress of the greater population. In sum, the inclusive growth that we often hear from our economic planners and policymakers will cease to become a mere lip service, but a reality. Ito po ang nais kong sabihin. Patas dapat ang masigurong ang pag-unlad ng bansa ay hindi nakabatay lamang sa tinatawag na GDP or Gross Domestic Product, at ang masigurong ang pagsulong ng ekonomiya ay ramdam hindi lamang sa Metro Manila at mangilan-ngilang urban center sa bansa, kundi hanggang sa malalayong bayan na maliliit ang local incomes at halos sa Internal Revenue Allotment o IRA lamang nabubuhay. Ang bawat Pilipino, hindi na kailangan pang makipagsapalaran sa Kamaynilaan o mga ibang bansa pa at iwan ang kanilang mga pamilya dahil may mga trabaho mula sa kanilang tinatawag sa mga tinatawag na PAPs or programs, activities, and projects sa lahat ng lalawigan, kabayanan, syudad at mga barangay tulad ng nabanggit ko na kanina. Recently, the government rolled out reforms in our public financial management. The government adopted, starting last year, the so-called Unified Accounts Code Structure or UACS, a single classification system for all our government financial processes, from budgeting to cash management to accounting and audit. UACS calls for transparency and accountability. Or so they claim. As I and my team randomly analyzed this coding system, say, of the National Irrigation Administration, we unearthed that there are some codes missing. To our surprise, such missing codes were utilized to insert some projects during the budget deliberations in the House of Representatives. We likewise discovered that in the budget of the said agency alone, there is a total lump sum amounting to 11.3 billion pesos. Our discovery in the course of our scrutiny of the NIA budget fueled our curiosity to further examine the appropriations of other agencies in the 2015 budget. Tulad na lamang ng budget ng Department of Agriculture para sa taong ito na nagkakahalaga ng 39 na bilyong piso. Isa sa mga napansin naming item ay ang farm to market roads na mayroong lump sum budget na 6.25 billion pesos. Base sa National Expenditure Program, Lower House at Senate versions ng General Appropriations Bill, ang budget na ito ay nakalaan para sa mga regional offices sa bansa. Subalit, laking gulat namin nang makita naming sa naipasang General Appropriations Act, ang mga regional lump sums na ito ay naglahong parang bula at napalitan ng 1,389 na line budget items para sa farm to market road projects sa iba't ibang parte ng bansa. Inatado at tinatad ng mga mambabatas sa pamamagitan ng realignments ang 6.25 billion pesos. Nangangahulugan ba ito na nagbabalik ang multo ng PDAF na naunang dineklarang unconstitutional ng Supreme Court sa isang landmark ruling noong July 1, 2014? Sa Department of Agriculture pa lamang po ito. Cry your hearts out, Victor de la Cruz and Victoria de la Cruz of PICPA. To date, upon our continuing review of the 2015 General Appropriations Act, we have already discovered a total of 424 billion pesos worth of lump sum appropriations, aka discretionary funds, part in the budget of just 11 of 21 major line agencies of the national government. Hold your breath. It is still counting. After the PDAP, we also discovered the obvious reincarnation of the Supreme Court unconstitutionally declared Budget Circular 541, which earlier gave the DBM the authority to pull and declare as savings unobligated, unutilized, and unreleased appropriations, not at the end of the year, but the second quarter. We found it in Section 70 and Section 73 under the general provisions of the 2015 General Appropriations Act. Are we now looking at the reverse of the DAP? As professional accountants serving the interest of the public, I may speak on your behalf when I frown upon discretionary funds, as these are prone to misuse and corruption. Our nation bore witness to this malpractice just very recently as we lost at least 10 billion pesos in the PDAP scam led by Janet Lim Napoles. Through the years, we have witnessed how those in position in the government have abused their powers and influence for personal interests. In her Recognition Day speech in UP Diliman, Ms. Tiffany Grace Uy, a summa cum laude biology graduate who got a near perfect weighted average grade of 1.004, stated, and I quote, "The problems our country faces are real extensive, and several generations of ambitious individuals have gone before us, and yet the problems still persist." I agree, because as I always say, this country's problem is government, bad government. The solution stares us right in the face of the problem itself. If we hope to solve the problems of most of the 100 million Filipinos, then the solution must be found in the government itself. It is called good government. But all of this shall not transpire if we do not choose our leaders intelligently. The first step means choosing among us those who can lead by the power of good and selfless example, with unwavering determination to reform government, discard the politics of compromise and unseemly transactional leadership, and instead enshrine genuine public service as the cornerstone of democratic governance. Let us choose leaders who have shown the right example and will therefore lead by the power and influence of good example. Datapwat hanggang patuloy na nakapikit ang mga mata ng nakararami sa nangyayaring katiwalian sa ating bansa at patuloy nating iboboto ang mga malalalim ang bulsa, makakapal ang mukha, walang kabusugan sa pera, mga kilalanang tiwali sa pamahalaan. Wala akong nakikitang pag-asa ang ating bayan. Patuloy pa rin ba tayong magagalit at magmumura habang naghihirap? For now, I'm making this simple call to all of you. Bilang mga kawani ng pamahalaan o kabahagi ng lipunan, magsama-sama na tayo sa paglaban sa katiwalian. Magsama-sama tayo upang pangalagaan ang karapatan ng mamamayang Pilipino laban sa mga ganit na nasa kapangyarihan. Let us all declare an honest-to-goodness, sustained all-out war against corruption. It's about time. It is the only way we can build a better future for our poor, for ourselves, but most importantly, for our children and the next generation. Most, if not all of you, are already reaping the fruits of your labor and your success. Is it too much to ask to share that success beyond yourselves? Let me end my speech with a bookmarked message from my desk calendar when I was still in the Senate. I quote, "People can't live with change if there's not a changeless core inside them. The key to the ability to change is a changeless sense of who you are, what you are about, and what you value," unquote. I wish you a productive and meaningful celebration of the Accountancy Week. Thank you and mabuhay ang PICPA.